This Terran versus Zerg is absolutely amazing. It was played during IEM Katowice between two of the very best players in the entire game. We find ourselves on the map Equilibrium, which is a very good map, especially for the Zerg. And spawning right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the red Terran pieces, we have Clem, his opponent, in the top left. Certainly his map choice. We're looking at none other than Solar's main hatchery. Alrighty. This is one of the games that I do know the result of already, because I was there at the tournament. But I didn't quite pay super close attention to this match, and from what I understand, this is an absolute banger of a game. So, we're gonna find out together exactly what ended up going down. I find myself always zoning out. Whenever I'm not casting the game, at a StarCraft 2 tournament, I find myself zoning out a lot. Even when I'm looking at the TV screen, or I'm looking at the monitor, my eyes just sort of glaze over when I'm not casting the games, and it's been a pretty long week. Generally speaking, I think for the first day of the tournament, so this was played during the playoffs, but for the first day of the tournament, I think we were there at the venue for like 14 hours, which gets a little bit crazy. Also, I usually consume a little bit too much caffeine, so I'm going through these spikes where I have a ton of energy, and then my body is like, okay, let's chill for a little bit, and almost fall asleep. Anyways, let's see. So far, nothing all too crazy. Obviously, yeah, this map is really good for Zerg. So, what exactly makes the map good for Zerg? Well, overall, it is just absolutely massive, right? So, the rush distance from base to base is very, very long. It's an easy way to expand for the Zerg as well. Because, worst case scenario, the only time you really have to, like, physically expand in the direction of the Terran is when you take the golden base with the rich Vespian geyser. Like, this is a double rich base, right? Like, this is as good as it's gonna be. So all the other expansions are pretty easy as well. It's just not that complex a map to play for the Zerg, and every single timing attack the Terran wants to go for, well, it just simply hits a little bit later. Alrighty, so how exactly do you approach this here if you're Clem? Well, obviously you can rely on your phenomenal control. Clem is very good when it comes to just simply microing his units, and I feel like over the last year, he's also worked a lot on his defensive play. I have seen a bunch of Terrans win the late game on this map, so if you can create a full split map scenario, that does make the game a lot more playable. But obviously that, well, takes a long time, and especially with the double rich base, Zerg can go for all sorts of attacks that are very difficult to stop. Solar, of course, also an absolute legend when it comes to playing this matchup. I feel like the man just never really takes a lot of damage. So, I mean, he loses a Zergling. Sorry, buddy, but you're not considered to be a lot of damage. The problem is that Solar usually is, like, he's like a sponge, you know? Like, he will absorb every attack over and over and over again, and then ultimately he will try to strike back. And it's difficult for the Terran to, get any sort of damage under their belt, right? Clem in particular is very much so a tempo-based player, so he loves getting some damage done, and then he will pile on the pressure with multi-pronged harassment a little bit later. And Solar seems to be very good at absorbing every single one of those blows. Anyways, so far triple command center opener here for Clem. This is the gold standard. We're gonna go for a tech lap over here, do the big switcheroo, get some Hellion Banshee to roam the map with a quick third command center on the back of this. Any damage is good damage with this opener. She can already match the Zerg's economy relatively easily, getting those mules and SCVs to mine here early on. Second gas taken in the natural expansion, just to keep the Zerg player guessing. Even if a Ling would scout it right now, you never really know exactly if this is the second gas or the third gas guys are taken. If you knew, for example, that it was a quick third gas, then, well, maybe battlecruiser play would even be an option, but Terrans always trying to mitigate as much of that scouting information as possible. None of that, though, really the case here in this game. Zergling is going to try and check, but it also gets roasted, just like its friend a little bit ago. Okay. This is where Solar is comfortable, though. Solar loves being the passive player in this game. He likes getting punched. Yeah, I'll just come out and say it. He likes it, and we don't judge him for it. He just likes to defend, get his Banelings rolling, go into the 1-1 upgrades. Every once in a while, he will mix in some aggression, but usually it'll not be too early on into the game. So we're gonna go into the double evolution chamber here. 1-1 upgrades before the Baneling speed upgrade, so That is going to make the defense a little bit trickier. Gets a Zergling into the base right now, though, and what he sees is going to please him quite a bit. He sees the green light right over there inside of that tech lab, and that indicates that Stimpak is going to come up. It's too late for the Terran to really fake any of those upgrades at this point. So this has to be a bio-based army, especially since he also saw the additional barracks right there in production. Now Solar knows he's going up against a quintessential standard Terran mid-game. That's always nice, good feeling. Just a single drone, but still slowing down that hatchery in whatever way possible is really, really nice. Liberator in the main trying to harass this. There's the 1-1 upgrades. The only downside right here for Solar is that his Baneling speed will be very late. So his Baneling speed will certainly not be done before Terran can really go for a timing attack. Lair only starts up right now. Baneling speed, usually the pivotal upgrade in this matchup. As soon as you get the Baneling speed done, that is when Zergs will usually start taking a lot less damage. So it's just going to be Queens and Lings and maybe some slow Banelings here for the time being. But then again, with this opener here for Terran, even Clem going for the anti-F2 Liberator here. Anyways. Yeah, Baneling speed is going to be a bit late, but it should be manageable. Armory coming up nice and early to go straight into the 2-2 research when necessary. And I'm expecting to see a, there we go, second factory to come down. And a fourth command center will probably, well, maybe a little bit later, but it will probably be down in the not too distant future. So both players just powering up as quickly as possible. Alrighty. One downside for this double gold base over here is the fact that Solar is gonna have to deal with this high ground area. And siege tanks up on that high ground are very, very scary. Luckily here though for the Zerg, this is not a Stimpak based army from Clem, which is kind of interesting. Instead he decides to go into a bunch of Widow Mines for now. Usually on this map, Terrans will look at this particular location and will, well, plant as many siege tanks there as possible. But apparently Clem is not gonna take the bait. Bane speed starts up. Overlord speed starts up. Hydralisk Den on the production tab. Terran Bio maneuvering all the way up north. Okay. +2, nice and early. We should see the +2 infantry armor here as well momentarily. Okay, and this high ground will once again be used, but the problem is Marines themselves. Yeah, they're not quite gonna be in range. Push over here with the leftover Hellions. Oh, Banelings? Oh my god. Ooh, that could have been a disaster. Luckily right there for Solar, even though all of his Banelings were clumped up, the Widow Mines did not quite get the connections. Certainly an opportunity right there for retargeting from Clem, but maybe he retargeted a little bit too aggressively and that Widow Mine shot was just a second too late. Either way, drop continues in the main base, but this one will be deflected. Queens are going down here, but ultimately I think this is a game where Solar is pretty happy with how things are going. He's gotten away with his greedy double upgrades. He's got 91 drones already. And now Baneling speed ultimately is done, and that is gonna make life so much easier. This is also the moment though where Clem is going to power up his aggression and his multitasking. The medevac drop from the bottom of the map, still going to town, still trying to hurt the Queens. In the meantime, Widow Mines being set up right over here at the bottom of the map as well to deal as much damage as possible. Okay. Good split right over there. Yeah, okay. Deflection once again successful here for Solar, albeit a bit more costly than he was probably hoping for. Hive coming up. Lurker Den on the production tab too. So Lurker Den is going to make this tempo advantage that Clem has been trying to go for a lot more easy for the Zerg player to shut down. Even when your creep has been pushed back all the way to your 4th base, or even when the Terran is constantly on your front door, just a bunch of lurkers burrowed in these tactical locations makes it very, very difficult for the Terran to push in. Solar still sitting at 94 workers. Very different compared to, for example, a Dark, right? Dark will not really play this style at all. But in my mind, both Dark and Solar are, well, definitely the best Zergs from Korea. Different approaches overall, though, in this matchup. And in all the other matchups too. Drop in the meantime in the main base. Did it kill any structures? No, not quite. Okay. Let's see. Both players have powered up a lot though here in the first 10 minutes of this game. Economies are stable. 5th command center about halfway done. +3 research should begin here for Clem. But he's busy multitasking. Drilling claws at this point is done. Oh. Okay. Great splits right there by Solar once again. Kill over there at the bottom of the map as well. Lovely work right there. Clem trying to use some of that speed, right? So APM in StarCraft 2, a little bit inflated, especially for the Zerg. 400 plus actions per minute though for Terran is really solid. And Clem is only gonna get faster from here. Okay, great splits though. Zergs have gotten so much better at dealing with those Widow Mines. Ah, Queens. I feel like we've seen a dozen Queens go down in this game so far. Target firing down to Baylings. Okay, now you're just showing off, Clem. Alright, you didn't need to stay around for that long, but... Yeah, 10 Queens. I was gonna guess a dozen, but 10 Queens have gone down in this game. Alright, now the light at the end of the tunnel is here. Seismic Spines, coming up. Nydus network is gonna finish up very, very soon as well. Already though, Clem is patrolling with a Viking, and look at the sensor tower positioning. Sensor tower in the main base to see I don't know, any unit here to go around, right? Because gonna be able to see an overseer that will try and get vision of the main base really, really early. Another missile turret at the gold base is going to reveal that the gold base has been taken. But at the very least, Clem is gonna be able to get, ooh, all right, knowledge of Zerg units that are trying to sneak around. Solar loves going for the Nydus Worm in combination with Lurkers. Okay, Overseer still managed to get in, but is it really going to be able to achieve much? Are we gonna drop it? Nope. Okay. But yeah, this is a classic Solar game here so far. He enjoys being the punching bag, and then suddenly he strikes back when he is done with everything that he needs to do. Like, this is the way the man loves to play. We've got ourselves the Fusion Core now coming up as well for the Liberator ranged research. Changeling in the main base is gonna provide vision. At the same time, Lurkers are out, and they're gonna be running on over towards that worm. Nydus in the main base. Couple units available. But this is so annoying, right? And suddenly, yeah, Terran is being attacked from the inside out. Suddenly that tempo advantage that Clem has been working so hard for in the first 13 minutes of the game, it's been mostly deflected. Creep spread is going to be respread once more. He's doing a great job though, holding on here at the front, because normally the Ling Bane Hydra army is going to be able to overwhelm. Banelings though, oh, still get some juicy detonations. 15 SCVs have gone down. The Lurkers actually did not escape, so they decided to stick around for a little bit longer than they probably should have. Would have loved to see them popping back into the worm. But good bit of counter damage right here by Solar. This is what he's been building up for the entire game long. One Marine in the main base. He heard about what the Marines down south were capable of against the Queens, but he's gonna get murdered. New Lurkers coming up. Advanced Ballistics starts up here as well for Terran. +3 infantry weapons is already done. Infantry armor is gonna finish up momentarily. And the Iron Bank, it is building. We're aiming for about 8 or so orbital commands minimum. And once that's done, life's really good. Another Nydus network. I was gonna say, Clem, that one is an easy one to shut down, but it is creating a massive distraction. Okay. Good movement here, though, by the Terran. Getting a lot of Zerglings here. We've seen so much Nydus Worm play lately from all the top Zergs. It's really nice. using all of that mobility to their advantage. It's funny because, like, historically, it's not actually that popular of a structure. Like, historically, we mostly saw Nydus Worm play as a cheese, right? Zerg players would try to bring it as quickly as possible, and then, well, the Nydus Worm got nerfed or changed or whatever, and the builds just fell out of favor. But now they're being used a lot for late-game maneuverability. And I love to see it. It's creating so much chaos. Clem loses another 15 SCVs. Solar has got all of the bases taken on his side of the map, and he is not even remotely done yet. He's got money for days here. +3 is going to finish up momentarily for the Ling Bane as well. Adrenal Glands is already done. I mean, magnificent game here so far by Solar. This is exactly the way he had it intended. Lurkers pop up here at the bottom of the map as well. They're gonna make it difficult, creates a distraction, boom, hits with the Ling Bane Hydra at the front. This is so incredibly difficult to defend right now for Clem, who's pinned with his back against the wall, trying his very best. Caduceus reactor upgrade is done. That's the latest and greatest Terran upgrade. The good old medevac heal improvement. Sensor tower missing right over here, by the way, now. Makes it a bit tricky. Luckily, there is a Widowmine to see that this Nydus Worm is coming up in that location. To clarify, by the way, I saw somebody getting confused in the YouTube comment section recently. You do not, like, we get a nice notification on the mini-map, right? Of where that Nydus Worm is going up. This thing right over here. That is not what Clem sees. So Clem only has one little dot right there on his mini-map, and that is all the information he has to work with. It's the same for tactical nukes and all that. They're not easy to spot for the opponent. Planetary Fortress goes down. A bit pricey, of course, but Solar at this point is feeling rich. He's even going after one of the bases that would be considered to be his opponent's. Okay. Hydra Bane getting absolutely shut down. Nydus Worm here in the back once more. These constant Nydus Worms, man. Like, maybe they're not cost efficient, but they're sure very, very APM efficient. Because Clem, even though he's the fastest Terran player in StarCraft 2, you can see that he's still struggling, trying to keep up with everything, right? It's one of those moves where it takes a few actions for the Zerg to execute, but it takes about 10 times as many for the Terran to defend. And for 75 minerals, 75 gas each, Solar is apparently happy to keep sprinkling them into the game. With all the rocks now gone, yep, that factory is now also destroyed. Alright. Lovely defense here, though, by Clem. This is what I'm talking about, right? Clem has gotten a lot better at the defensive style. This is not quite that Maru-esque approach, though, that we see in a lot of games. This is Clem now turning into the punching bag after Solar was the one that took most of the damage early on. Okay. +3 missile. Gonna finish up momentarily. Solar just trying to pile on the pressure left, right, and center. Transferring drones down south as well right now. It's not that many, but that is one of the bases that Clem really would like to have. This is such a fast game. Ay, ay, ay. Easily the fastest game of TBZ I've casted. In quite a while, at least. Nydus Worm being used maybe a little bit defensively, mostly just because Solar has become next door neighbors with Clem. Not because Clem had any say in the matter, though. He doesn't like this at all. Moving forward. Honestly, very impressive stuff here by Clem, though. Still with a good economy. Still with a solid amount of CCs. Still with a maxed out army. Still on top of the upgrades and just handling everything brilliantly. Despite the fact that the man has been putting out fires left, right, and center. Another Nydus Worm over here will get denied. Cheeky little lurker. Oh, he's so fast at cleaning all of this up. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Well, Solar probably agrees that that was an ambitious base in the first place, right? He doesn't really need that one. That was mostly just to rub a little bit of salt in the wound of Clem right there. Tactical nuke, by the way, on the production tab as well. Lingbane Hydra moving forward. 67 SCVs were killed by Solar in this game so far. And this is basically Solar trying to slowly smother Clem in aggression, right? He's trying to suffocate this Terran player here. And it's starting to look like it is working out, although the Terran army right now coming in from the back, coming around the side. Blinding Clouds right there do help out Solar to try and retreat his army away once more. But finally Clem, yeah, seems to discover a little bit of a foothold over here. Albeit one that came at the cost of an entire base worth. Moving down south once again. This expansion is blocked because there's a lurker, but that one will also be cleaned up very rapidly. More queens are falling. Immediately though, when Clem is spotted down south, Solar moves through the center of the map. Okay. This really does feel like the fastest paced game I've seen all year. Ay, ay, ay. Either that or maybe I've played too much Stormgate lately. That game is a little bit slower, that's for sure. Anyways. Great splits right there. Ay, 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 ay. Wow, these engagements though are really good for Clem. Microing his heart out. Dealing with the aggression here with those worms too. And right now the amount of money that's been spent on Nyduses. Great splits. Oh, beautiful splits against Parabombs. The amount of money that's been spent on the Nydus worms, it's starting to add up, right? Like 75 minerals, 75 gas each. We've seen dozens. Base is going to stay alive. Okay. The wind has been taken out of Solar's sails though. Solar right now flat broke as far as gas goes. I think he's gonna have to give Clem a bit of time to breathe here, but that's gonna work out really nicely for the Frenchman. Random Cyclone, there he is. What was his name again? We have two random Cyclones. I was giving them a name. Was it Terry? No, it wasn't. Terry was the swarm host. The random swarm host that Zerg players like to go for in the late game sometimes. Alright. Was it Chuck? No, it wasn't Chuck. Anyways, Clem managed to hold. Incredibly impressive, but he is not... He's not out of the woods yet. He's been holding on to the bottom section of this map. But as soon as he takes up shop at the bottom of the map, Solar takes one of the bases that would ordinarily be considered the Terrans up north. Sensor tower here does reveal it. Liberators are gonna siege up in that location. I don't believe we have a spire. No, we do not. So we're not in a position here to make a load of corruptors. Fungal! Oh, big fungals. Lovely fungal growths, although the liberation zones here are not to be underestimated. Solar decides to just push through it, goes after Chuck the Cyclone. Banelings connecting wherever possible, but these are all very expensive trades here. Another orbital command is burning at the very least, but Solar is trading like he is never gonna run out of cash. And I think he's already run out of cash. Yeah, look at the cost efficiency here. Whoa! A near 20,000 resource difference. That adds up very, very rapidly. Clem trading his heart out, but he needs to be careful. He cannot fight this Zerg army without being maxed out himself. And obviously the creep is still at his front door. The ghost numbers are being remade. He lost quite a few of them in that previous engagement. But then again, against this army, you don't need a million ghosts either. Because this is just a mid-game based army with some late-game spellcasters for the Zerg. No Ultras, no Lurkers in the main attacking force. No Brute Lords, none of that. There's still a tactical nuke, by the way, sitting inside of the Ghost Academy. Only 3 mineral fields are accessible here. I think technically 4. But the Liberators are trying their best to just deny this as long as possible. 13 confirmed kills as well on that bad boy. Solar is going after the lifeline of Clem's economy. That's this base over here at the bottom of the map, and it is gonna get shut down easy peasy. Barra bombs right over there on the Medivacs, trying to keep that economy low. 14 drones, though, did go down. I think it must just mostly be, yeah, these Liberators. Liberators putting in a ton of work. They're set up all over the map, and since there are no Corruptors, and this is a big oversight for Solar, without any Corruptors, he cannot properly deal with these ranged Liberators. Like, technically speaking, you could abduct them, right? But that is incredibly inefficient use of actions. Plus, his strategy is to try and keep the Terran player occupied. So he can't really dedicate his Vipers to doing that right now. Love that move right here by Clem, recognizing what he's playing against and using that to his advantage. Another command center is burning here. Another 9 SCVs end up falling. Can we scan over here, Clem? Infestors are coming around the side, Clem! Oh, God. Okay, well, he does see some of them. Okay, good splits over there. Get some of the EMPs. Those infestors are forced to back off. Marines over here coming up north as well. They're going to take care of that base. In the meantime, push over here down south. Fungals are deflected. Parabombs are microed against as well. This planetary fortress is nowhere to be seen, but a few SCVs will try their very best to repair that one back up to full HP. Ghosts are standing their ground themselves right now. Few Marauders in the front. Lingbane Hydra moving forward. One random drone in the mix of that unit comp of the Zerg as well. Fungal growth not really achieving that much. Clem just trying to make as many units as he possibly can, adding on more and more Marines at this stage as well. SCVs are falling, though. This base is in a little bit of trouble. There is not enough energy here for a fungal growth. And upon not killing that base as quickly as he would like to, Solar realizes that he cannot continue this aggression for much longer. Clem is going to secure the base down south. He's going to secure the base up north. And with that, Solar is no longer able to stay in the game. What a fast-paced game. Incredible. GG's.